back inside the stash. So, I was checking out my video history here on YouTube, and I realized that the last time I did one of these was back in April, prior to going to NNL East so long ago in April it was. And so, that probably explains why I have stuff stacked all over the place, because I tend to, stack it up around me so that I can show it to you guys before I put it away. It's never seen again. With there being what amounts to effectively 4.5 months, closer to 5 months worth of stuff, with more stuff on the way, because why wouldn't it be, I decided to split this video into 3 different pieces. So this first part that you're watching currently is going to be domestic kit acquisition. So this is all the stuff from your Revels, your round 2s. There's actually a bunch of stuff that I want to go purchase, but I'm waiting on a few kits that have just been released. Go watch the August kit release video for more details on those before I, go and make one sort of bulk trip. Although at this point, if I might just wait till fall show season starts, because there's really no urgency to get any of this stuff. It's not like I'm going to start building it tomorrow. But at any rate, this is, like I said, domestic kits. So this is pickups from a few different shows, NNL East, local shows, as well as just a couple trips to the local hobby shop. And then there will be 2 follow-up videos of import kits. One will be import street cars, so civilian vehicles, if you will. And along with that, the accessories for those things. So any kind of trans kits or PE sets or whatever for regular, everyday, run-of-the-mill cars. And then the last video will be a intake of race car models and the associated things that go with those, like decals and PE sets and trans kits and wheels and all sorts of stuff that go along with that. So hopefully that'll keep each of these videos from being like 9 hours long, like trying to compile one video of everything I've acquired in the last 4 months would be. Yeah, you guys can tune in and watch what you want, and I can sort of watch the analytics to see what it is that you people are interested in. I mean, not that that's going to affect what I buy, because it's my stash, not yours, but, it's just interesting to see. At any rate, without further ado and further blathering, let's check out domestic kits, April to August 2024. All right, folks, let's take a look at some kits. So, again, since we haven't done one of these since pre-NNL East, there's a bunch of stuff that I've received since then. Mercifully, most of it's not in this video. I know, it makes it sound great that I don't buy American kits, but I have a lot of the kits. Your round 2s, they're reissuing a bunch of stuff I already own. And, obviously Revel's doing what Revel's doing. So, first up, on these great big boxes that don't want to fit in the camera, you have the 68 Coronet Coupe, right? It's not the convertible version. I said when this kit came out I would pick one up, because if I was going to be interested in one of these, all new tool, but feels like 1968 building kind of thing, I would want the steel roof version of it. And so I did pick one of those up. Again, this is quite a while ago now, but I'm not even sure. I think I picked these up at our local hobby shop when they came in. That's back in like May or so. So, some of the stuff is going to be like, that's not that new. No, it's not. And actually the newest stuff that I would grab, I haven't gone to grab yet, because while I do appreciate the fact that I have a local hobby shop, it's still not exactly the most convenient thing in the world when you work night shift to try to get out there during the hours they're open on days off. So, at any rate, I probably am picking up most of that stuff at the end of the month when our first big model show of the year happens here in Pittsburgh. But be that as it may, yeah, 68 Coronet. And then the other great big old box that won't fit in the camera is the Dodge Pursuit, the 2021 Dodge Charger Police Car Edition, also a round 2 AMT kit. And there would have been a point in time in my life where I would have picked up a flat case of these without a question. But decals don't really exist for these anymore. One of the biggest places we used to be able to get police car stuff into the present day was a place called policecarmodels.com. It changed its name to Black Dog Diecast, and then the gentleman who runs that business decided this fall that he was going to be shutting it down. So currently, it's in a process of having the inventory sold off, and no, it's not going out of business because that makes it sound like it's unstable. He just been doing it for 27 years. And he's taking his cash and his chips out and retiring, which kind of sucks for like commercial builders because he sold a lot of stuff that was usable not only in police but in like any sort of light commercial thing that needed light bars and stuff like that. So that's kind of unfortunate. He owned the Chimneyville brand the last time I heard, as far as like the name of it, and that leaves us kind of stuck with a situation where there's nobody making decals for law enforcement stuff right now. It's kind of a pain in the butt to do because over the course of the years, law enforcement has started to act. Well, I mean, their stuff is licensed, right? This is a California Highway Patrol car because it's licensed through the California Highway Patrol, and so you have that problem with these with producing decals on like a large basis. Everything in the aftermarket, none of it's ever licensed. Dirty little secret if you didn't know, like resin isn't licensed. That's why it's sold in such small quantities. But if you were to come out with a new decal company and be like, yeah, we're doing the Ohio State Highway Patrol and PA State Police, because both Ohio's had charges forever, Pennsylvania picked up 300 of them last year. Both of those states very strongly license their imaging and their logos in the sense of like you got to pay a whole lot of money, or probably you're not going to get them in the first place, no matter how much money you want to throw at them, because they're very, very, very picky about who gets to use their logos. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this necessarily. I mean, it's a CHP car. It's a weird CHP car because there are several Hemi-powered all-wheel drive Chargers in the CHP fleet in the northern part of the state where it snows. These wheels are specific to the all-wheel drive car. This kit isn't all-wheel drive, it's rear-wheel drive because it's based on the RT and the upcoming wide body. So it's technically, you wouldn't see any of it because it would be all underneath the plastic undercoating that the chassis has on it. There's a great big, skid plate that goes over the engine bottom. So you wouldn't notice it anyway, but I mean, this isn't an all-wheel drive kit, and it doesn't, and I know there's discussions about doing this again in the future in a different livery with the rear-wheel drive wheels, which would be, I think, really handy because if you had the all-wheel drive wheels and the rear-wheel drive wheels choices, you could build pretty much any Dodge Charger that's existed from 2016 to 2023. This 2021 is really meaningless. The cars have not changed at all in any meaningful way that entire time this body style's been in production. So that would be awesome if we get that, but like I said, I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I bought one to have one, but I don't know what department I would do with this. I'd love to do it as a PA car, but the livery that's on the PA car is really different in a couple of different ways than the decals that exist already, and it would be a huge pain in the butt to try to produce because the color scheme that it's in the sense of like the stripe, the bold pop of color that's in the stripe is not something that really can be done on a CYMK printer. So yeah, we'll see what we do with this in the future. I'm babbling, but yeah, so there's that. We had a local little swap meet back in, I think it was probably like May or maybe June, I can't remember what year, but we picked up a couple of other kits. I had a couple of these in the Lindbergh boxings that I bought through Ollie's many years ago. I ended up auctioning those off because, they're old and they didn't really have decals in them. And the decals they did would be trashed by now because, not only were they old, but they were in a fire. If you remember the fire sale that started the selling kits at Ollie's. So this is the Lindbergh Dodge 330. And, not a lot to say there. Still got the slant 6 in it and in the 383. So just a rebox of that. And then I picked up this. I am still just a hair too close here, and if I go out too far, I'm gonna be off the. You're gonna see how janky this red background is placed on my bench right now. So I think we're good. All right. So anyway, 67 Plymouth Hemi GTX. I don't think the Hemi was necessary. We could figure out the engine by looking at it, but I had all of the original 67 Revell kits from the time they came out in the 90s. And at some point in the past, I had won at I want to say it was a raffle at our local club. I had won a new 67 Charger. And I started thinking about it and looking at the kits that I had in terms of, like what they look like. And my GTX was pretty wrecked just from being old. The decals were just absolutely ridiculous. And so I picked up sort of a mid, right? This is not the most recent boxing of this kit. That one has like a yellow car on the box, and it was just done a couple years ago. This one's like a 2014 or so range. I really would at some point like to build all three of the 67 cars, because I just like the concept of the three triplets, if you will, of these kits, because a lot of these kits share the parts with one another. That's why all three of them were done at one time. And in that, I looked at my coronet, and the kit itself is great. It's still sealed inside the box. The box is open, but the decals were toast. So I did what any sensible person would do. I went on to eBay, and I found one of the people that parts out kits. And did I pay too much for the set of decals? I guess that really depends on your point of view. I think I paid $8 for these shipped, and it's way less than the kit would cost, and I don't see the reason of buying a whole new kit when the kit I have is good. It just needs new decals. So I picked up the set of the Foose decals. I kind of like the over-the-back bumblebee stripe that came with the Foose kit. I don't really care for the wheels that are in the Foose kit or anything else about the Foose kit, so I don't need the Foose kit. I just needed new decals for like the gauges and the scripting and stuff like that. That's really what I really wanted. And so now I have that. So that's, $8 well invested in something that it'll never get touched. But, at least I have the ability now. Then we have our NNL East haul. These are the kits I actually picked up in Jersey at NNL East. And a lot of this stuff is sort of backfilling my collection. I did a lot of sort of examining what I have and like what quality it was, if you will. That sounds awful, but I mean, like, I have in excess of a 4-digit number of model kits right now, and 121 of those are kits that came from my teenage years. While I did do a dip in and dip out of building model cars while I was in my 20s and early 30s, I never got rid of the model kits that I had when I was a kid. I was one of the people that I've told the story a number of times, so I didn't build necessarily, but I didn't throw anything away. And so a lot of those kits I'm now looking back on that are 30 years old and going, man, the decals are shot in this, or, everything in the box is like kind of grimy and disgusting and stuff like that. So I started getting rid of those kits, selling them, put them online for $1 a piece, not for sale, total sale, but for auction. Starting them at $1 and seeing where they go. And so this trip to Jersey was sort of backfilling the collection. So I picked up the Foose 65 Impala. There's a completely factory stock Foose 65 Impala in here. You don't have to build it with the big goofy wagon wheels that are in this kit. It has all of the regular factory stock parts in it. So I like Impalas. I still have a 66. I have the 65 convertible still. And I wanted this, but I had it in that big oblong box that Monogram put it in when it originally came out. And like, those boxes have not stood up the test of time of 30 years. And there weren't really any decals in it. And so there are, gauge cluster decals and things like that in this. So grab that, like I said, to sort of backfill. Another one of those old Monogram kits in the big goofy box that I had sold off the junk kit and backfilled is this, the 50 Ford F1. I really wanted this one anyway, because this edition, well, not this edition, but the editions of this kit that came out after the original ones came with like flathead speed parts and extra wheels and things like that. Obviously, there's extra wheels on here. And I really wanted those speed parts. The original release of this kit, the one that has the powder blue picture of a 50 Ford on it, was factory stock completely. There were no extra parts in it whatsoever. And so I wanted this one for the extra parts. And so I got rid of the old one, picked up the newer-ish one. This one is 2011. And then another one of those big, giant, oblong Monogram boxes that I got rid of was this, the 56 Chevy Nomad. I didn't realize this kit was out of production when I started this little sojourn, because I knew I could pick up the Foose kit, And I knew somebody had the 50 Ford that I could get. I didn't end up getting it from them. I ended up picking it up in Jersey. But this one turned out to be the biggest pain in the butt to find because, yeah, they weren't in production anymore. I didn't realize. So other than the California wheel stuff that comes with this is the same kit as it was when it came out. It's still got all the factory stock parts in it because I want to build it more to stock than to any kind of custom. And we'll see what it comes out to in the end. But yeah, so again, just backfilling the collection with new versions of stuff I've had. And then I think, yeah, all this stuff is the new kits, right? Well, these were new Jersey in April, right? So the 57 Ford Del Rio Hidden Valley Ranch wagon. This has the newly tooled custom parts included in it. I had the 57 Ford Del Rio Ranch wagon. There was nothing wrong with it. I hadn't even opened the plastic inside. I'm not even sure I opened the kit itself. And I was like, I don't necessarily like customizing cars. I know that this is going to sound weird, but bear with me and follow with me. I don't necessarily like customizing cars. Like this doesn't do anything for me, this packaging necessarily. But I like cars that are sleepers. And this kit, in addition to having some, obviously having a new bumper, a new grille added to it, and these big wheels and stuff like that, also has all of the parts for the supercharger setup that comes in the 57 Fords that have sort of not been entirely all in the Fords at one time, unless you bought the NASCAR version of the kit. And so that has all of the supercharger parts in it. It has a couple other engine parts in it, and I like the idea of building something that looks pretty stock, but has that whoops-a-daisy when you hit the gas, if you will. So that part of that is what appealed to me of this, and like I said, I got rid of the other one I had, and I picked this one up, so it's a net neutral kit collection thing. I picked this up because at the time it was the only Mobius kit that I didn't have, and of the Ford F-Series trucks, so this is the 68 F-250, as you can clearly read, and I don't know why. I don't need another one of these. This makes like 13 of these or 14 of these that I have. So, but for some reason I'm a sucker for these. I've never actually built one. They could be trash. I know that the hood warp is an issue with these because I've opened enough of them to see. I've gotten some with hood warp, some without. It's a weird thing. Well, I don't know why it isn't always warped or always not, but it's a Monday Friday thing, I guess. If anybody remembers good old U.S. car manufacturing, don't buy a car built on a Monday or a Friday. But yeah, so again, yay, it's another Ford. So one of these days I'm going to build one of these, I swear. And then last kit in this, and we'll cover a little bit aftermarket after this, is the repop of the 32 Ford Tudor. People don't think I like hot rods, and that's not true. I just don't like them as much as I like other things. And this one, of course, is based on the 32 Ford tooling that came out in the mid-90s, the 5-window, the 3-window, this kit, the Speedwagon, whatever that woody-looking thing is. Kind of sort of the rat roaster in the 32 hot rod, because those two kits are new tooling. The rat roaster was its own tooling, so I was missing the master brake cylinder that these kits have, because when they tooled that up, they kind of forgot to put that one part in the trees. At any rate, I do like these kits. I built the 32 5-window way back when it came out back in the 90s, so this is almost like a different version of that, obviously, but I built this as a kid, right? When this originally came out, I was 14, I want to say. I'd have to look at the exact year that the 32 came out, but it's very early 90s, and yeah. Trying to get a teenager to glue together all of this chrome chassis without really scraping any seam lines or really wanting to deal with trying to glue chrome parts together. Nowadays as an adult, I can dechrome the suspension, rechrome it, and have it all be nice and neat and whatnot. So looking for another crack at this one, and oops, that's going to be upside down to you guys. There we go. And you have the couple of different engine options, the old flat and the modern 5.0. And so yeah, I'm I don't know what I'll get around to this, but it fits into that category of things I have, like the 30 Ford and the 29 Ford. There's a few hot rods I like. You know, my big issue with hot rod kits are, if we're going to be real honest about them, is they tend to be old, right? Like this set of hot rods and the 2930 Fords are brand new tools. They were done up at a time when Revell had figured out how the hell to make a model kit go together in one piece when you built them. A lot of that other stuff, and I know I'll get flack for saying this, but I'm going to say it anyway. It's just stuff from the 60s and none of it fits together. It's all like, oh, it was custom, dude. Yeah, it's custom, all right. Custom in the sense that it doesn't fit. So many of those parts swap between so many of those kits, and things like the AMT 29 Ford, where there's 5 different versions of it out of 3 different tools, and you never know exactly what combination of parts you're going to get in the box anymore, because who knows what was gated off and what run of what yeah, no, I'll stick to the new stuff, thanks. And, you know, if anybody wants to make new hot rods, I'll probably buy them, but it is what it is. Lastly, I picked up, and these are from Hobby Easy, although you can't get them off eBay, and you can get them directly from the manufacturer themselves. These are Quinta Studio. They are 3D decals for the interiors of model kits. Now, there are several other versions that they have done that I haven't picked up yet, because you can, again, buy them direct off the company. You're going to buy them like from Russia via like Estonia or something like that in order to get them, because prices are in euros. And of course, with the current ongoing, apparently never-ending brouhaha that the Russia has started over the Ukraine and won't give up for some reason, even though logistically speaking, you could say they're losing that whole crap show. Getting them takes a little while. You will get them. You asked Frank Model Works. He picked up the ones for the Tamiya Snap-Tight Porsche, and he did get his. So you will get them if you order them directly off Quinta, or Quinta. I think it's Quinta Studios. But I look at that and it's Quinta, like Quinta Airlines and La Quinta Inns. But anyway, the reason why I'm featuring them here in the domestic kit thing is because they have this set for the Meng. I'm doing this upside down and backwards, and it's been a little while. So they have this for the Meng, the Hummer H1. And what you get with this is a whole bunch of interior decals. And I'll go ahead and pop these out. I have to pop them out of 2 plastic bags, because this is just sort of the instructions. And it is a layout style instructions. Let's look at this so you see exactly what you get all the way around, right? If I can get this, I'm trying to carve its way through the side of the plastic bag. I should have done this off camera, but I didn't realize that getting the instruction manual out would be such a chore. That'll teach me. So you get a big piece of thing here saying, you know, basically saying thank you for buying it, and describing how to work with it in terms of the, you know, the way that it goes. Like, oh yeah, it's so intriguing. And then it's in Russian on the back in case you speak Cyrillic. But then you have everything's upside down. Everything, like the layout of where you place the decals and all of that. So these decals are sort of ink on top of a very, very fine resin surface, and that gives them a 3-dimensional aspect. Now, trying to show this will be kind of interesting, I think. But these are the decals, and if we take and tip them, you can see that certain buttons and knobs and things like that, I'm trying to get the light on it, there we go, have a 3D aspect to them. So that is the 3D decals, and I realize that I am upside down, aren't I? Ha! Yes, I am. I thought it was upside down when I looked. They're so tiny and the printing's so small on them. Without my readers, couldn't see them. But anyway, yeah. So that's the decal set for the Meng H1, and like I said, they're 3D. You do have to sand or carve, or if you have micro chisels, and I like the fact that the bezels have like glass to them. That's cool too. You do have to take and get rid of the surface detail of the kit itself to put them on. You can't get them, you know, to lay on top of the actual decals or of the actual engraving itself. But a little bit of work. I mean, micro chisel should take care of most of that stuff in a couple of seconds. And you get a really cool effect that, at least with the H1, you'd see, because the Hummer can be built with doors open or closed on it. And they have the Hummer, they have this is the newer Tool Porsche, the one that came out a couple years ago with the silver car on the box art, or the red Targa on the box art. So that's what these decals are for. And then, let's see, let's try to make sure everything's right side up for you. This is for the Tamiya version of the 89 Fairlady 300ZX. So this does include dashboards and things for both the export and the domestic car, so it has the left-hand drive components. This is the export version of the first-gen Honda NSX from Tamiya. It includes the California license plates and all that stuff. And this is for the Tamiya R32, which, oops, let's put that the right way. Yep, that was the right way. Which, of course, is a venerable Tamiya kit and a pretty cheap one. If you ever want to buy a Tamiya kit to sort of get going in what Tamiyas are, the R32 Skyline's a pretty good start. It's a pretty decent kit. It's showing its age a little bit. It was tooled up in 1989. But in all, it's still a real good, really well-detailed kit in the sense it's full engine in it. And I know that's a big thing for a lot of people. Not a thing for me, but I know for a lot of people. There is a street custom version of it, which has a different set of wheels and like a shock tower brace and some turn metal parts, which is pretty cool. If you could find that one, it's a couple bucks more expensive. The last time I looked at an R32 Skyline from Tamiya, they were running in Japan $11, and they usually sell for less than $30 in the United States. But this will replace the speaker grills, all of the center console, several of the underhood decals, as well as obviously the gauge cluster. These also exist for the Aoshima Lamborghini Countach. I think it's just the base 400 series Countach, the LP 400. They also have these now for the Hasegawa R32 and Hasegawa Z32 300ZX. There is a import, or I should say domestic market, if you will, NSX. So if you want to build the JDM version of it with the right-hand drive, you can. This is specific to the left-hand drive version, the Acura version, so know what you're buying there. And there is a simple and what they call complete set for the Porsche 959. The simple set just has like bezels and a couple other bits and pieces. The complex set is nearly $30, and it basically replaces all of the paneling inside of it, all of the door panels, all of the dashboard, the center console, a whole bunch of stuff for the engine compartment. It basically it fills out the whole back of one of these things. It's two different sheets of decals, and so yeah, it's pretty cool stuff if you're so inclined. These tend to run about, these ones are about 10 to 12 bucks a piece, shipped. So like it's a pretty good value. If you're gonna spend a couple bucks on decals, this is a pretty good place to spend those couple bucks. So anyway, guys, that wraps up this one. This is again just the domestic kits. We're gonna do 2 more videos in the coming week or so. One will be import street car kits, like, you know, driven on the street, and one will be import racing car kits, because race car, all the things, obviously, but there's so much in looking back at 6 months of this. If I tried to put it all in one video, even though this one's going to filter towards, 25, 26 minutes as it is, it would be way in excess of what I want to talk in one setting. I would just get bored and start throwing things, and you would obviously fall asleep. So wakey, time to go to the next video. We'll see you guys on the other side.